the Bridge of Pride. Túrin believed that hiding underground, like frightened creatures, was not the way of warriors. Against the advice of the wise elf J.R.R, he proposed a bold and dangerous idea: a great bridge. Instead of keeping the entrances to Nargothrond secret, Túrin convinced the king to build a massive stone bridge across the river Nargothrond. This bridge would allow armies to march out openly and strike the forces of Morgoth. Many celebrated the idea, but one voice warned against it: the mysterious elf-fin dwellers, who had begun to care deeply for Túrin, feared the pride growing in his heart. Even the hidden messengers of the King of Dariath warned that secrecy was the only protection left. But Túrin ignored them. He believed courage alone could defeat the darkness. And so the bridge was built. It became a symbol of strength and pride. But to the eyes of Morgoth's spies, it became a beacon pointing directly to the hidden kingdom. The dragon awakens, far in the north, beneath the dark mountains of Angband. The Dark Lord Morgoth watched. For many years he had searched for the hidden kingdoms of the elves. Now, at last, one had revealed itself, and Morgoth had a weapon unlike any other. From the depths of Angband emerged Glaurung, the father of dragons. Unlike Leto dragons, Glaurung possessed not only fire and immense strength, but a terrifying mind. He could speak, he could deceive, he could break the will of even the strongest warriors. And now Morgoth unleashed him, with armies of orcs marching behind him. Glaurung began his slow and unstoppable advance toward Nargothrond. The elves had faced many horrors in their wars, but never a dragon, never a creature born purely from the malice of Morgoth himself. And when the shadow of Glaurung finally appeared on the horizon, the warriors of Nargothrond realized something terrible. Túrin's war had brought the enemy directly to their gates. The Battle of Tomhallad. The army of Nargothrond marched out to face the invading forces in the fields of Tomhallad. Leading them was Túrin Turambar, wielding his black sword, Gurthang. The battle began with hope. Elven warriors struck fiercely against the orc armies. For a moment, victory seemed possible, but then the ground began to shake. From the smoke of battle came Glaurung. His fire tore through the ranks. His massive body crushed soldiers like insects. Even the bravest warriors faltered. King J.R.R was slain in the chaos. The army broke, and the survivors fled back toward the city. But their retreat led them to the bridge, the very bridge Túrin had built. Now the dragon marched across it, straight into the heart of Nargothrond, the sack of the hidden city. As the survivors of the battle fled across the great bridge, terror followed behind them. Across the river Nargothrond came the monstrous form of Glaurung, his vast body glowing with heat and flame. The mighty gates of Nargothrond had never been breached before, but this time they did not need to be. The dragon simply crushed them. Stone shattered beneath his weight as fire flooded the entrance halls of the hidden city. Behind him poured the armies of Morgoth, endless ranks of orcs and wolves, screaming with cruel triumph. The once beautiful halls of the elves were turned into slaughter grounds. Warriors fell defending their homes. Treasure chambers were looted. Statues carved by ancient craftsmen were smashed and burned. The great kingdom that had survived for centuries was destroyed in a single night. And at the center of it all stood Túrin, the man who had unknowingly led the enemy straight to its gates.
The spell of the dragon. When Túrin Turambar finally faced the dragon, his sword raised high, the battle seemed inevitable. But Glaurung did not strike immediately. Instead, the dragon spoke. His voice was deep and terrible, echoing through the ruined halls of Nargothrond. He mocked Túrin. He reminded him of his failures. of the destruction of the city, of the suffering of his family. Then Glaurung revealed something far worse. He told Trin that his mother and sister were living in misery, wandering homeless under the shadow of Morgoth. And as Trin listened, the dragon cast a terrible spell upon him. His eyes burned like molten gold. His gaze froze Trin where he stood, unable to move, unable to resist. And in that moment of weakness, the dragon bent Trinna's will, convincing him to abandon the captives of Nargothrond and ride north in search of his family.
The captives of Nargothrond. While Trin stood trapped beneath the dragon's gaze, the armies of Morgoth began gathering prisoners. Among them was Finduilas. She had long loved Trin in silence, and now she was dragged away in chains. The orcs mocked her. They laughed at the fallen kingdom, and as they marched the captives away from the ruined city, Finduilas cried out only one name, Trin, but he did not hear her. The spell of Glaurung still held him frozen in place. By the time the dragon finally released him, it was already too late. The prisoners were gone, the city was destroyed, and the kingdom of Nargothrond existed no more. Trin had lost everything.
The terrible realization. When the spell finally broke, Túrin Turambar realized the terrible truth. He had been deceived. The dragon had not only destroyed the kingdom, he had manipulated Trin's mind by sending him away in search of his family. Glaurung had ensured that no one would rescue the captives, including Finduilas. Driven by rage and guilt, Trin rushed north to find the orcs. But he arrived too late. Finduilas had already been killed by the enemy during their march. Her body was laid beneath a mound by the people who discovered her, a silent grave beside the road. When Trin found it, the grief nearly broke him. Everywhere he went, tragedy followed. The curse placed upon his family by Morgoth seemed impossible to escape.
The dragon's victory. Meanwhile, the conqueror of the city remained behind, within the shattered halls of Nargothrond. The great dragon Glaurung coiled himself around the treasure of the fallen kingdom. Mountains of gold, ancient jewels crafted by Elven masters, weapons forged in the early wars of Beleriand. All of it now belonged to the dragon. Smoke filled the caverns as the last fires of destruction burned, and in the silence that followed the slaughter, Glaurung slept. The greatest victory of Morgoth in the western lands had been achieved. A kingdom erased, a hero broken, and the shadow over Beleriand grew darker than ever before. The beginning of the final tragedy for Túrin Turambar. The fall of Nargothrond marked the beginning of the final chapter of his tragic fate. Haunted by guilt, loss, and the growing shadow of the curse upon his bloodline, he wandered far from the ruined kingdom. But the dragon who had destroyed his life still lived, and one day their paths would cross again. When that moment came, it would lead to one of the darkest and most tragic endings in all the legends of Middle-earth. The story of Túrin Turambar was far from over, but every step forward led deeper into darkness, and the shadow of Morgoth still watched from the north, waiting